Well, Israel, of course, has responded to this barbarian, vicious attack against it on Saturday, which was nothing but a massacre. A massacre with, for the time being, we speak of 900 casualties. I'm afraid the numbers are bigger. More than 2,000 wounded, among them are heavily wounded. We're speaking about civilians who have been hijacked. And as the Israeli Prime Minister and the Ministry of Defense have promised, and Gaza will not be the same in the coming decades, in the coming next 50 years. Because one thing, I mean, we have learned from this horrific Saturday, from this horrific weekend, from this horrific event, from this horrific massacre, is that a country, a normal country, any democratic country, any normal country, cannot live beside a terrorist entity who reigns over a region, in this case, the Gaza Strip, the city of Gaza. Look, we shall use all the means. You must understand that in the last, more than a decade, we have a few, we had a number, it's not a few, we had a number of cycles of violence. And when I say cycle of violence, I don't say war, as you can see. This time it was very clear from the beginning that we are going to war. This time it was clear from the beginning that the objective is, of course, to erase Hamas, to make sure that Hamas will not have they will have zero capacity to offend us. Because what we have seen on Saturday is something that we have never seen in Israel since the independence of our country in 1948, meaning images that, our kids were watching in history books. These are things, as our President Airstrikes mentioned yesterday, this is something that resembles the Nazi regime. Because think with me, people who enter the house and to find Jews, take a family and viciously slaughter them, chop their heads, kill them, and then present their corpse to camera, put it on social media, and celebrate what they have done. Tell me who did this. If I say to animals, I don't think that even animals would do such a thing. All means are on the table, and Israel will use every mean it can in order to erase, this group, this terrorist group that is Hamas. It is true that this is a problem in a country where every citizen, every life is a world on its own. Even if we have one casualty, it's one too much. So imagine the amount of dead, the amount of wounded, and also, of course, the hostages. Yet, two things I would say concerning the hostages. One thing, first of all, is the fact that you see again the threatening them, taking them, including kids, including women, including elderly women with the foreign people who are assisting them. It shows that how barbarians this group is. But first of all, the hostages only show the way that they threaten to execute hostages is another thing that presents, exactly what we're dealing with. Yet, they have to understand they are not in a situation in which they can put any condition whatsoever. What on Saturday they think is their biggest victory is going to become their biggest defeat, their biggest nightmare. We have to admit, things have to be checked. The fact that on Saturday we lost so many lives, the fact that on Saturday, enemies, terrorists could penetrate our territory, the fact that they could do whatever they want for hours, this is, of course, a consequence of a failure. But now is no time. Now is no time to check who's responsible. I'm sure that, people, officials, of course, will have to pay. They will have to pay, and they will pay, first of all, in their position. This is clear. Everybody knows that. I think they know it. But now is not the time to look for who's responsible, because the same people who are responsible for mistakes are the same people who know the job, who can, who will bring us victory. So for the time being, the Israeli population is backing, the chief of the army, the chief of the north, the officers, the commanders, and of course, the government by itself, because we have today two things we have in mind: union and victory. That is the only thing today we're focused about, union and victory. And when I say union, by the way, let me remind you that Israel was in a turmoil the last year, as you remember, around, this judicial reform. And people said, that's it, Israel will never be the same again. And look, the army, for example, if you want 100% of people coming to the army now to engage, we have 150%. People who are coming from all over the world. And people, 1 week ago, in Israel, in Tel Aviv and elsewhere, were fighting in the street, arguing very, very, very hard. Today, one will give his life for the other, because this is Israel. No opposition, no coalition. Today, we're Israel. I wouldn't suggest anyone, to engage in this war, any one of Israel's enemies, because you're going to see the price Hamas will pay. By the way, they're starting to pay the price. You can see what's happening now in Gaza, and it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning, because this is what the population expects. This is what the army expects. This is what government is supposed to allow. To eradicate, to eliminate the terrorist threat over our territory. Now, you must understand another thing. This is not our war. This is a global war. In what way do I mean it? You must understand that there are two axes right now in the Middle East. There is one axe with Saudi Arabia at the end, with the Abraham Accords, with our friends all over the world, also our friends in the Arab world, like Egypt, like Jordan, people who want stability, people who want prosperous societies, people who want prosperous economy. And by the way, your country, India, is among all those countries, all those democracies, all those people who care for the citizens. On the other side, you've got the other axe, the axe of vicious barbarians, terrorists. Iran at the end, of course, handling all this, but you've got over there Hezbollah, you've got the Islamic Jihad, you've got Hamas. Now you tell me, where do you place America, France, India, Japan, Spain, United Kingdom, Italy? Of course, they're on the axis of normal countries, including in the Arab world, who want stability for their people. So I think that in this war, everybody's on the side of Israel. Israel understands it, because being on the side of Israel is being on your side. This is a war against terrorism, the same war against terrorism you had against Al-Qaeda, the same war terrorism you had against Daesh. But what really makes me sad, makes me perplexed, makes me confused, is the fact that Hamas, a terrorist group, a group that in its chart, like a Nazi chart, where they want to eliminate people, the Jewish people, they don't want my country to exist. This organization was elected by the Gaza population. And this is something that really everybody should think about the mentality of our enemies. And again, as I said, the fact that you can see in social media videos that you would never screen on Indian television, on any television, and they praise and they chant and they on the contrary, and they're happy for slaughtering a young girl, raping women, and they clap to such events. Look who are we dealing with. And I think that this time, the world has realized this is the enemy of Israel. And don't talk to me about any excuse because of any reason. Nothing excuses such a thing. You have to understand one thing, and the world understands, I hope, and we have seen this amazing speech, and I'm so grateful to President Biden for his amazing speech, for the American people, again, to be on our side. But here I look also at other countries. I think, as I said before, Europe, of course, European countries, France, United Kingdom, Germany, they're all on our side. Why? Because this time it is so clear. It is so clear. You're either on the side of population or on the side of terrorism, or on the side of the rule of law, or on the side of barbarians. This has nothing to do with any justice or claiming justice. Again, as I said before, entering a house, gathering father, mother, and 3 children, and then with a rope, tying their hands, and then execute them, and then take it out and present it in social media. You tell me which side you are.